first time I think I've seen this come across one of our lives. Is why is there fringe on the kilt? Is there a historic reference for it?
I know why there's not fringe on some kilts. I don't know about why there's fringe. It would just be effectively the... If I had to guess, and this is just a pure educated guess, it's not 100% fact. So Google more stuff than just me.
But that's my point. You're being honest about making an educated guess.
Well,
a lot of people out there will not be. They'll say, "No, this is the truth. This is the truth." You know, it's passed
yeah,
down to me.
well,
So,
that
anyway,
just bothers the hell out of me.
go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, if I had to guess, it evolved from the great kilt just having, torn fabric edges, where the bottom is actually a selvage edge, and then the actual edge of the cloth is just torn. As you wear it, it's going to fringe a little bit. It's not going to come unraveled like a sweater because it's not knit, but because it is woven, it will kind of fringe a little bit at the edge. Right. Now, in American kilts, if you look at kilts from the 1950s, 70s, and before, there was a weird rule with the U.S. Customs that anything with decorative fringe or decorations on a garment of clothing would be taxed at a higher rate. So
they left the fringe
companies from Scotland would send the kilt to America and not fringe the front apron.
Okay.
They would just leave it cut, and it would be up to the individual to actually fringe it, and you're effective. All you're doing is just pulling out a bunch of threads. But they would leave it undone so that it's taxed at a lower rate, and then the person wouldn't get banged with customs.
That's hysterical.
Yes.
It makes perfect
Yes, it
sense,
is.
though. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Leave it to the practical Scots to get around US customs.
Seriously. I think Occam's razor says that what you're saying about the fringe is correct, and I swear I've heard it other places before. So double check everything I'm saying too. But
You must have Googled the same places I did.
I probably did, But actually, I like to use Yahoo. I'm really old school like that.
I prefer Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia is good. The fringe, very definitely, again, we're talking about survivals and things that were retained because they just looked cool. Fringe became a thing, I think, as kilts became more tailored. They said, well, we're not just wrapping cloth around ourselves anymore and leaving the edge, fuzzy. We're tailoring this thing. What should we do with the edge? Well, fuzz kind of looks cool, and it adds some definition to the front of the kilt where you don't have much definition or interest, so let's keep it. It looks cool. And now you actually have fringe being added on in layers to make it thicker and more impressive.
Two things I'll point out. Number one, the historical example of the reverse Kunossi pleating kilt does not have fringe. A lot of those old historical versions of kilts, tailored kilts, do not have the fringe.
There you go. It's just like the Highland shirts again.
And the other thing I'll point out is the way that we put on fringe here is a little bit different than traditional kilt makers. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat. You can make a kilt 100 different ways, and they're all fine and good as long as it looks good and fits you.
Okay.
But the traditional way is to actually bring the fabric from the front apron back to itself and then back out. So if you need to adjust the kilt later to make it the front apron bigger to allow for growth of the individual, you still have fabric to fudge the front apron. That's why the first pleat is a little bit deeper than the rest of them, so you can fudge that as well. That's why you add extra fabric on the under apron so that you can actually add more pleats to the kilt. So they built in, 50 years ago, they would build extra fabric in or extra ways to tweak and adjust kilts into the actual garment itself. Nowadays, it's a lot less common. It's a lot more... people just basically build it for the person that's wearing it. Done. That's it. Mac, anything to add to that or thoughts?
No, pretty much.
Okay.
I think you just hit on a point that I hadn't thought about looking at photographic evidence, to be honest, but now I'm going to. But I suspect that then putting the fringe back on became just like Highland shirts and ghillie brogues and all that kind of stuff. Is like, well, we think that they had fringy kilts back in, the 16th century, so we're going to start putting fringe on our national costume to make it look more official.
Yeah, traditional from back
What's
then.
the date of the Canusi
that I don't
specimen?
know.
I got that in my notes, but I don't remember. I think it's like 1830s.
Sure.
I'll look it up.
Google
it. Yeah. No, I'll check my photo archive. But so yeah, it's. I think what that also says is that you could go without the fringe if you wanted to be very contemporary about it.
Yeah.
So.
The fringe serves no purpose other than looking cool.
Yeah.
So you don't like the fringe, leave it off.
Yeah.